So let's take a minute to get familiar with Onshape's touch interface. All the commands and functionality you'd expect from the desktop browser are available here, so you can zoom in and out using a two-finger pinch gesture, rotate using a single finger, and you can pan with two fingers. Notice with two fingers you can actually do any combination of panning, zooming, or even twisting. The View cube allows you to touch it to jump to any of the standard model views, as well as Zoom to Fit. Zoom to Fit can also be accessed quickly from the Context menu, which can be brought up by tapping with two fingers. The Context menu will show you some options based on whatever you're working with, and in this case, because I didn't have anything selected, I only have a few options available. I'll tap Zoom to Fit. To select items, just touch them, and continue touching everything that you'd like to select. A nice feature here is the Precision Select tool, which brings up a magnifying glass when you press and hold with one finger, making it easy to make precise selections of edges, faces, or vertices with your finger. To deselect items that you've selected, just double tap anywhere. If you want to select a group of features, simply bring up the Context menu and tap the Create Selection option. Using this tool, I can select a single fillet and switch selection type to fillets to select all the fillets of equal radius. I'll click Add Selection to choose these fillets. I could select more entities, but for now I'll close the dialog box. Now all of these fillets can be modified simultaneously by using the Modify Fillet tool to change the radius. And touch the check to confirm the change. On the left, you can see the features list, which can be adjusted by touching and dragging left and right, or up and down. If you want to reveal more of the features, the Parts section can be moved by touching just under the gray bar next to the title Parts. You can scroll through either list with your finger, or in case you'd like to maximize screen space, the features list can be hidden by tapping the arrow. Of course, everything in the features list can be selected by touching and deselected by double tapping anywhere. I can reorder the features list by touching that option at the top, which also allows me to quickly move the rollback bar. Notice next to each item in the features list, you can actually touch to reveal more options, such as renaming, editing, showing dimensions, suppressing, rolling back to before the feature, or deleting. If I touch Show Dimensions, I can see the dimensions of the sketch. This is a simple and easy way to determine which dimensions drive the model geometry without having to search through the sketches in the features list. From this view, I can also quickly make edits to the sketch dimensions. I'll undo that change and show another way to edit features. If I go back to the ellipse icon and select Edit, I can manipulate any of the parameters, and in case I need to make some selections, I can make a bit more screen space by touching and dragging the top of the pop-up, or collapse and expand it by tapping. I'll cancel for now. At this point, let's take a look at some of the gestures you'll use when sketching. Here in this new Part Studio, I'll create a new sketch by touching a plane to select it, and tap with two fingers to bring up the Context menu, and select Sketch. To look normal to the view, I can do this again from the Context menu. I'll touch the Line tool to sketch a few lines so you can see how the touch controls work. So when I touch the screen and keep my finger pressed, I can see some feedback letting me know where the first endpoint will be located, and I can drag it over the origin to establish a constraint. When I pick up my finger, the first endpoint is placed. So next I'll again touch, and right away you can see the preview of the line appear. But since I'm still touching the screen, I can position the other endpoint and add any automatic constraints, like vertical or horizontal. The Line tool remains active, so if I touch again, this will continue a chain of lines. I can double tap on the last segment to end the chain, and since the line tool is still active, I can begin a new chain. This time, instead of pressing and holding my finger, I'll just tap to add a few segments in the chain. To end the chain, I could double tap when I add the last segment, or I can turn off the line tool. To select items, just touch them. Notice that when a sketch entity is selected, the view is automatically locked and can't be rotated. To delete a sketch entity, just tap with 2 fingers to bring up the context menu. To make precise selection, the Precision Select tool I showed you a moment ago can be enabled by pressing and holding down until the magnifying glass appears. With items selected, you can touch and hold to move them. Or, of course, you can add constraints from the toolbar. In case you ever go to make a selection or drag something and accidentally rotate the view, just bring up the context menu to again look normal to the sketch plane. The lock icon in the top right can also be activated at any time to prevent rotation. As I showed you a moment ago, items can be selected by touching them. And with items selected, you can touch a part and drag it to move it. And if you find it easier, you can always touch and press on the manipulator to move or rotate components. As a final note, the tabs at the bottom can be reordered by touching and holding until the tab pops out, and then simply dragging and dropping it in place.